and the conversation between Bhagavan and Arjuna was like this, that Arjuna was a little confused because Bhagavan at the end of chapter 10 mentioned about you be my karmakrit, mat karmakrit. And so in the beginning of the 12th chapter, he's asking Bhagavan who is superior, what path should I follow, the Nirguna Upasana or the Saguna Upasana? That is his question. And Bhagavan answers saying that the ones who are meditating on me is Sakara Rupena. They are in fact Yukta Tamaha. That is his question. Maya vyasya mano ye mang nitya yukta upasate sadhaya paramo parayopetas te me yukta tamamataha. Having said that, Bhagavan sort of immediately clarified that in the next two verses, 3 and 4, that there are other people who sort of do the Akshara Brahma Upasana, Nirguna Nirvikar Upasana. And what kind of subject matter, what do they meditate on? They meditate on the Param Brahman, who is also described with a range of adjectives like Akshara, right? And then Anirdeshyam, which cannot be nirdishta, you cannot point it at Avyaktam, and Sarvatragam, it goes everywhere, Sarvavyakta, Achintyam, Kutastam, Achalam, Dhruvam. These are the words. These are the adjectives which you use to refer to the Param Brahma. And then he's saying these people who are sort of meditate on me, how do they do it? Because he has explained that in chapter 9 and he's repeating, summarizing it, how they do it, saying that Sanyamyendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha. So they control their senses, because for samadhi, if your mind is not stable and the senses are running around, roaming around, trying to connect with external objects, then the mind cannot settle, and the mind cannot settle means there's no samadhi. So you cannot have that samadhana, you cannot have that resolution, a meditation in Bhagavan. And then there is another distraction or cause of distraction. If you have raga dvesha, which is the mother of this mind to roam around, if there is no attachment or there is no aversion, you're neither happy nor sad about anyone in particular, then the mind can be quiet. Like when you're about to fall asleep at night, just imagine you remember a very serious, important task you have. Then your sleep goes. You cannot sleep because then suddenly all the tensions come back to you. Similarly, somebody that you hate or very angry with suddenly enters your mind. That vessel will disturb. So, the cause of distraction, these two factors, raga, dvesha, can also be very powerful distracting forces. Then he uses the word samabuddhaya. That means whether they're happy, rewarded, or punished, they don't have much of a reaction. That is what is glorifying that sense of equanimity. And they are the people who also get me, mam eva. So he's trying to say there is same phala, whether you are doing nirguna upasana or saguna upasana, you do the same thing. Therefore, he's saying that these guy, however, kleso adhikataraste. These people, kleso adhikataraste sam abhyakta sakta chetasam, who are very much focused on only Avyakta Upasana because they are very bright students of Vedanta. These people are into hell lot of problems they have to deal with. Abhyaktahi gatir dukkham. Because this whole process and meditating on the Avyakta Nirguna Brahma is not a child's play. It's not meant for everyone, but they have taken it upon themselves to sort of win over the Parama Tattva through Nirguna Upasana, through Vichara. And therefore, it's very difficult, especially for whom? Dehavadbhi prapyate. Those who are still conscious of their existence as, Sturoham, Shino Aham, like I'm very thin, I'm fat, Purushoham, right? Sundaroham, Balabanoham. In these kinds of thoughts you have, then this ahankara is very much present, and therefore the mind cannot easily settle down. But if you have made up your mind that I will definitely do samadhana of my chitta through nirguna upasana, then you have to do hell lot of things. We have already discussed that, starting with samadhamadi satta sampati, viveka, vairagya, then you will go guru upasadana. We have to have mumukshitva, then study the scriptures, strengthen your mind, study grammar, do some upasana also. You have to be kritopasti. Nishkama karma and antakarana suddhi is also required before that. Then you would be able to do final meditation on Nididhyasana and Bhagavan. And that is a very, very long journey. Very, very difficult, tortuous, not very easy. Therefore, he says in verse number 6 and 7, which we did in the last class, in comparison to these people, Yetu Sarvani Karmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha, those are focused on me, having surrendered all their activities, at my feet. Ananya Neva Yogena Mangdhayanta Upasate, and then Ananya Yogena, without taking any other alambana, completely focus on me, and therefore they sort of do that, that Ananya Bhakti there. So with same steadfast, single-minded devotion, and they surrender all these karmas at my feet, and they become mat karma krit. Then what happens? I appear in their life. Tesam aham samudharta. I do uddhara of them. I liberate them. From where? Mrityu sansara sagara. Mrityu is here ajnana. Sansara is the karya of ajnana. Mrityu tat karya. Sansara sagara. The sansara is itself like an ocean. Why? It's very difficult to swim across the sansara. Bhavami, how long will you take to become that Uddharakarta, like the fire brigade? Na chirat. I'll not take much time. That means quickly I will do. He Partha, Mai Avisita Chetasam. But for whom? It's for a reserved few. Who are these guys? Whose minds are completely resolved in me. They have surrendered to me. And we have already completed the Sankara Bhashya of it. The Madhusudana, there's a few interesting things, and therefore I'll quickly, move through it, because he has one paragraph for both 6 and 7. 6 we had done, and 7 also we had done for Sankaracharya, but this Madhusudana is together for both the verses. We'll quickly, read through them and make sense of it. Nanu follow एक ही फल तो एक ही है, that you will get that mam eva, you will get this paramatatva vasudeva, that sakshatkar, atma sakshatkara, eka phala eva. Then why should he saying klesa alpatva adhikabhyam utkarsa niskarshau syatam tadeva tu nasti? What he's trying to say is actually in saguna upasana, the phala cannot be compared to the phala in nirguna upasana. Why? He is referring to the Purva Pakshi, the questioning mind. A good student of Vedanta is asking Bhagavan, or is trying to ask. This is the doubt Bhagavan will have, and he is answering it. The doubt is like this, that you explained in chapter 8 that the Saguna Upasakas, those who are meditating on the Theya Brahma, that means with one alambana of Bhagavan with his guna and Vasudeva Rupa, whatever. If you do that sort of meditation, you would actually go in the Uttarayana Marga, you will go to the Brahma Loka. After Brahma Loka, in a Kalpante, you will get liberated, because Prajapati himself will give you the Upadesha. So slightly indirect way. It's not a direct liberation. On the other hand, in 9th chapter, you said, in the 8th chapter itself, you have clarified that the ones who are meditating on the Nirguna Brahman, that Akshara Brahman, get Sadhya Mukti. So they work harder, therefore they get Sadhya Mukti, or direct, they get into a lift and get liberated. On the other hand, the ones who do Saguna Upasana, they have to walk up the staircase. So how can you say that both are same? Therefore, you cannot say that the Nirguna Upasakas are doing extra work. They are also getting extra result. Therefore, there is phala apparently is same, destination is same, but in terms of the time which one takes in the Saguna Upasana stage, that is much longer. Therefore, they deserve to work harder, because they will get direct liberation. That is his doubt. So what does he say? Nanu phala klesa alpatva adhikabhyam utkarsa niskarsa syatam tadeva tu nasti. निर्गुण ब्रह्म विदाम ही फलम अविद्या तत्कार्य निवृत्त्या. जो निर्गुण उपासक हैं, the ones who are doing निर्गुण उपासना, for them and what is the phala? Avidya tatkarya nivriti. So the ignorance, and as a result of ignorance, all the problems that we face, they get liberated from tatkarya, this sansara. They will get mukhya, nivriti from this. Okay. Phala nivritya nirvisesa paramananda bodha brahma rupata. So they will get that brahma rupata. Brahmavid brahmaiva bhavati. So Nirvishesha Paramananda, there is no specific Ananda, but they will get universal happiness, Niratisaya Sukha, limitless, undefined happiness, which is total summation of them and the Sachidananda Swarupa. You will get that Eka Rupata, Brahmeka Rupata, Bodha, Brahma Rupata, they will get it. In case of Saguna Brahmabit, what happens? Those who are Saguna Upasakas, those who are meditating on name and form, Saguna Brahmabidam Swadhisthana Pramaya Abhavena, because they will not be able to have that ultimate self-realization because they are going through one externality. Bhagavan is different from me because they are not having Aikya Bhavana. So then what happens? He's saying Abhavena, Avidya Nivritya Abhavat. The ignorance still stays. Why ignorance stays? Because they still have Veda Buddhi. Bhagavan is different from me. He will liberate me. So that is some kind of Veda Buddhi. So they will not get direct liberation. They have to go to Brahmaloka. निवृत्त अभावात ऐश्वर्य विशेषः कार्य ब्रह्मलोक गतानां फलम. So they will go to the Brahmaloka. That is a karya, that is also so because Bhagavan has also mentioned that from Brahma to the all human beings and insects, they are Brahma Bhavana Lokaha, that they are all anitya. So this Brahmaloka itself is also anitya, because that also gets dissolved during Pralaya Kala. So he will go there, is the phala. Therefore, the guy who's doing Nirguna Upasana is having greater, quicker result in terms of liberation. The Saguna Upasaka doesn't get that ultimate quick liberation which the Nirguna Upasaka gets. Therefore, let him work harder. Why should you say that he's working hard? He's also getting more. Ataha phala adhikya artham, because he is getting more phala, that artha, that particular object, that moksha, ayasadhikyam. So therefore he has to work harder. Na nyunata. Therefore, you don't say that the Saguna Upasaka is getting less, because he's also getting a nyunatam apadayati chet na. Bhagavan says, no, it's not like this. That is what Madhusudan is explaining. Saguna Upasanaya, because he's saying, look, Saguna Upasakas also quickly get the result. I will explain how. Saguna Upasanaya nirasta sarva pratibandhanam. Now, the yogi who is not so much of Ishvara Vishwasi, is doing serious yoga and he wants to do Nirguna Upasana. So he's always alone, he's confused, he has a lot of confusion. And therefore, the Saguna Upasaka takes the Alambana of Bhagavan, he will save me. So he has more stability of mind, he has more control, he has more dedication, he has better emotional happiness. Saguna Upasanaya, through Saguna Upasana, Nirasta Sarva Pratibandhanam, all the obstacles he removes through this bhakti. Bina Guru Upadesham, he doesn't need a guru because he says, okay, Yogeshwara Krishna is my guru. I will only meditate on him, no one else. Guru Upadesham Vina, he doesn't require a guru. Na Stravana Manana Nididhyasanadi Abriti Klesham, and he doesn't have to a guru and then he has to study Vedanta, and no, he will not do anything. Like a gopi, he will only do Krishna Nama Japa and serious meditation on Bhagavan Krishna. Klesham Swayam Abhurbhutena, through this Ananya Bhakti, Daharatya Bhakti, Bhagavan himself appears in his meditation and gives him Antakarana Suddhi and also Jnana. Vedanta Vakyena Ishvara Prasada Sahakritena. Now the Vedanta Vakya, he has some basic knowledge he has. He has to study the basic Vedantic text, that is fine. But then that all the Nirguna Brahma Upasana, without doing it through serious bhakti, he appears. Bhagavan directly gives him Upadesha. Like Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he didn't study Vedanta with any great Acharya. Of course, with Totapuri he summarized, but the understanding he had far exceeded the understanding of an academic student of Vedanta, because he was living that life 24 hours. He was 24 hours living with Ma Kali. Then obviously she herself transmitted all the knowledge to him in a way. That is what Madhusudana Saraswati is hinting, which happens in case of a great Saguna Upasaka. Tattva Jnana Udayat, and then Tattva Jnana, that Atma, I am not different from Bhagavan, that Jnana also appears. Because we have that Bhagavan, that, with his grace, anything can happen. So, Udayat avidya tat karya nibritya, like in case of the Nirguna Upasaka, also in the case of these Saguna Upasakas, also avidya and tat karya, that is samsara, that nibriti happens. Brahmaloka Aisharyam Bhogante. Of course, he has to go to Brahmaloka. He is not denying it. Sadyamukti is not there. So he will go to Brahmaloka. But what is the problem? Brahmaloka, he quickly reaches, not a problem. And then there he has to stay for some years. He doesn't know, because he is not old, having old age or in medical problem or corona or anything. He's relaxing. It's a very nice place to stay. And in a very sukshma avastha where you have to be there for a while and then you get liberated. So what is the problem? So Brahma Loko Bhogante, what happens to him? He gets Nirguna Vidya Phala Parama Kaivalya Upapattehe. So he will get that Parama Kaivalya after Brahma Loka Prapti. Sa etasmat Jiva Ghanat Parat Param Purishayam Purusham Ikhyate. So this is Mundaka Upanishad and Panchama Prasna and the fifth sloka. Iti Srutehe Samprapta Hiranyagarbham Aishwaryaha Bhogante. So he will go to the Prajapati, that Brahmaloka. So he will be with Hiranyagarbha and his Aishwarya he will enjoy. Bhogante. Etasmat Jiva Ghanat, that particular. Sarva Jiva Samasti Rupat Parat Sreshtat Hiranyagarbha Utparam. Okay, Hiranyagarbhat Param Vilakshanam. So he will go to the Brahmaloka, that is the place of Hiranyagarbha, who is the creator, Prajapati, and there this Jiva Ghanat. Why he is called Jiva Ghana? Because he is Samasti, Samasti Vachaka Jiva, and we are all the Vyasti. We are all separated, isolated little selves. He is the great self. Hiranyagarbha is the great self, and beyond that he goes to that Kaivalya Brahma. From beyond Brahmaloka is Brahman, and there is that particular Kaivalya, that ultimate experience of oneness, that Brahmeka Rupada. And Brahma Param Vilakshanam Sreshtam Cha Purishayam. What is that Purisham? Purisete, that Purusha, that Atma, that he has direct Sakshatkara of it. Okay, Purishayam Srihada Swahridaya Guha Nivishtam, that particular Kutas, that Atma Purusham. Okay, Purna Pratyak Abhinnam Advitiyam, that is, there is no second, because that Atma is in all of us, and we are just apparently appearing is different because we think we are the body. Once you remove that false consciousness, you have the experience of oneness. You have the direct Sakshatkara. This fellow gets it after going to Brahmaloka. Paramatmanam Ikhyate. He has direct Sakshatkara. He sees the Paramatma, not the way we look at a table or a chair. Atmatvena. He sees Paramatma as non-different from himself or herself. Swayam Avirvutena. Vedanta Pramanena. That Swayam, that Atma. Yes, that Atma Sakshatkara. Vedanta Pramanena. Whatever is Aham Brahmasmi, that Pratyaya, it becomes very obvious to him. Sakshat karoti tavata cha mukto bhavati ityartha. So that is how Madhusudana Saraswati takes a long route to argue on behalf of Bhagavan, Vasudeva Krishna, that even the one who is a Saguna Upasaka is also quickly gets the same result and cannot say that the Nirguna Upasaka is superior, and it is in line with what Shankaracharya also said, not a problem. तथा च विनापि प्राग उक्त क्लेशेन सगुण ब्रह्म विदाम ईश्वर प्रसादेन निर्गुण ब्रह्म विद्या फलप्राप्तिः इति imam artham aha dvabhyam. So he's saying that in these 6 and 7, why Bhagavan is saying that even without doing Shravana Manana Nididhyasana and lot of Upanishad Patana Patana, the Saguna Upasaka with complete dedication is able to experience the same bliss of Atma Sakshatkara in these 2 slokas. Now he summarizes both the slokas, the commentary, in just a few lines. We'll just quickly finish it. Okay, tu sabdo ukta sanka nibrityartham. The ye tu, because these two means they are different from the Nirguna Upasakas who have to do a lot of hard work. Ye sarvani karmani mai sagune vasudeva sanyasya. So they surrender all the activities they do at my feet. Samarpya mat para aham bhagavan vasudeva eva paraha. So they decide that I will do everything for only Vasudeva, and Vasudeva is my final destination. Prakrishta Priti Visayo. And he is the center of all my love and affection. They are not distracted by anything in samsara. Yesam te tatha santa ananyena eva yogena. And that yoga they are doing, that particular Jnana Mishra Bhakti yoga they are doing, that is ananya. There is no second alamana. They are not going anywhere. They are not doing anything. This karma and upasana, running around to other false astrologers, and they are not doing any of this. Yogena na vidyate mang bhagavantam muktva. With other than me, they are not realizing or doing anything in. Anyat alamanam jasya tadrasena eva yogena samadhina. That yoga is that samadhi, constant meditation. Ekanta Bhakti Yoga Aparanamna. There, there is this word that Parabhakti and Aparabhakti. In Parabhakti, some people sort of refer to that ultimate Nirguna Brahma Upasana, and Apara is meditating on the Nama Rupas. In that way, is Madhusudana Aparanamna Mang Bhagavantam Vasudevam Sakala Saundarya Sara. How beautiful is Lord Krishna! Sara Nidhanam Ananda Ghana Vigraham. As if is a, if you look at Bhagavan Lord Krishna, he represents a consolidation, a compact presentation of the blissful appearance of God's love for us. Dvivijam Chaturvijam. Wow. So either you have 200 Murlidhar, only 2 hands, or Chaturbhuja Narayana Rupa, Samasta Jana Manamohini, and then his flute, Dvibhujam. So he has the flute in his hand. Muralim Ati Manoharaihi Saptavihi Swarai Apuriyantamba. And then he's playing his flute. You can have that Dvibhuja Rupa, Va, otherwise the Chaturbhuja Rupa. Dara Kamala Kaumodeki Rathanga Sangi Pani Pallavamba. So you have the Sankha Chakra Gada Padmadhari in his Pani Pallava in his hands. Ba, otherwise you can also pick up any other Rupa of Narayana. Va, Narasinghatvadi Rupam. You might meditate Parashurama or anyone, or basically a lot of people are very much worshippers of Sri Rama or Nrsimha. Ba Paramakarvanikam Sundara Sundaram Srimad Raghunandana Rupam, because Lord Rama was so much fond of his devotees, right? So he might as well also worship Lord Rama. Barahadi Rupamba, or you can use Matsya Kassapa Baraha, Bhamana, you can pick up any of these Dasavataras, Jatha Darsita Vishwarupamba, or in chapter 11 I've explained, you can look at that Sarvatmaka Rupa Vishwarupa, Dhyayantaha, Chintayantaha. So they will meditate on me and they will do chinta and look at my Leela, look at the Puranas, Upasate, Samanakaram Avichinnam. And then they sort of, without any, that mind is not running around, completely focused on that particular Ishvara Tattva. Chitta Vritti Pravaham Sattanavate Samipa Vartitaya Asate. So they are already focused on me, all the time close to me. Asate Tishtanti Va Tesam Mai Avasita Chetasam. That particular Uddharakarta I become for a restricted few who are thus all the time focused on me and dedicated to me. Mai yathokte abesitam ekagrataya. It's not that doing 5 things and also taking the Lord of name. No, they are all the time dedicated to the Lord. Pravesitam cheto yehi tesamaham. For those people by whose mind is completely surrendered to me, for them, his mind and his action, his life, everything is surrendered to me. Satatu upasito Bhagavan, those who are completely dedicated to me and doing my upasana, what do I do? Mrityu sansara sagarat mrityu yukta ja sansara. This sansara, mrityu yukta, because this is mithya and is born out of that ignorance. Mithya jnana tat karya prapancha. So that mithya ajnana, mithya jnana. So that particular jnana tat karya, and the cause of that ajnana is this prapancha, this vichara, this sansara. Saeva sagar, and that itself is the ocean. The sansara is like an ocean. Why is it called an ocean? Dustaratvat, because it's very difficult to swim across this whole ocean. Dustarah tasmat samudharta. I become the liberator, the rescuer. I rescue him out of this ocean in which he is drowning. Samyak anayasena. I comprehensively liberate. I lift him out of this sansara. Udurdhve. So udurdhve, that I pick him up, pull him out from the sansara. Okay. Sarva badha avadibhute suddhe brahmani. Where do I take him? Well, I just liberate him. There is no Vasudeva anymore. There is no Bhakta anymore because he goes Suddha Brahmani Dharta Dharaita. And then he is the one who holds the Dharaita, everything. Jnana Abhastambhadanena. I give him the support of Atma Jnana. He doesn't anymore require anything. So far, he doesn't have Suddha Jnana. He's doing this Alambana of Vasudeva Upasana with a name and a form. Suddha Jnana, that Jnana itself is Vasudeva. Bhakta also becomes Jnanamaya. He also becomes Vasudeva Maya. Bhavami, na chirat. How long? The student will ask, okay, would you do it quickly? Hiprameva, of course, na chirat, without delay. Tasmin eva janmani. He partha iti sambodhanam aswasanartham. He partha, because he's again saying, look, there is some kind of bloodline relation between you and me. So I love you. Don't you get confused. That is how the verse 7 we have concluded. Now let's do at least 3-4 verses. These are very easy ones. There's not much to do in the next 4 verses. Now what happens is it's quite possible that when you do Swaguna Upasana, but not thinking about anything but only Lord Krishna and dedication and all this kind of bhakti, it's also equally difficult, isn't it? So Bhagavan in verse number 8 sort of gives advice how to do meditation. So he's saying, Mayeva mana adhatsva, Mai buddhim nibesaya, nibesisyasi mayeva, ata udvam na sansayaha. Mai eva mana adhatsva. In me, do your mana niveshanam. Focus your mind on me. As the teacher, the parent, always guide the children. The children have attention deficit problem. Saying, no, man lagao. If they keep saying that, the children are all over the place. They may be studying, Mama, there's a cat. You can watch the children, what they do. They'll be studying, suddenly they start looking at the cat, playing with the cat or the dog, if you have pets at home. That's how the mind functions of children. It's all over the place. But actually, we make fun of children for lack of attention, but our mind internally, though externally, we are much more disciplined because of our socialization and certain habits that we picked up to appear very wise. But the mind keeps running around. We might outwardly appear as very grown up, mature people without any problem, but internally, the mind is still like a child. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Mai eva mana adhatsva. This mind can be your friend or enemy. This mind can be your friend provided you all the time, establish and focus your mind on me. Mai buddhim nivesaya. After mana, you have also analytical thing. Should I do it or not? That buddhi also focus on me. Mana buddhi ahankar, all this. Nivesi sasya mayeva. If you do that, if you are successful in establishing your manas and buddhi, intellect and in your mind, both. Two aspects of your mind broadly. So the manas and the buddhi at my feet, ata udvam nasansaya. Ata udvam means what? Of course, you will go in the Archimarga, you will go to the Brahmaloka and then get final liberation. So you should not have any confusion. Okay, so we'll quickly do kind of Madhusudan and Shankaracharya kind of repeated here. So we'll see. अत एवं तस्मात् मयि एव विश्वरूप ईश्वरे मनः संकल्प विकल्पात्मकम आधत्स्व. Why the word mana is there? Because mana all the time indulges in what? ये करूँ वो करूँ, I'll do this, I'll do that. The mind runs around. Sankalpa vikalatma. No, I should not do it. That's sthapaya adhatsva. Mai eva vyavasayam kurvanti buddhim adhatsva nivasya. And then that vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana, he mentions that, isn't it? So that nischayatmika buddhi, that the intellect aspect of your subjectivity or whatever you call it, also try to focus on me. Tatah te kim syad, what will happen if I do that? If the student asks, Bhagavan says, Srunu, Shankaracharya says, Nivesisyasi nibatsyasi nischayena sadatmanamai nivasam karishyasi eva ataha sarira patat urdhvam. So if you do that particular thing, you shall live in me. Nivesisyasi mai eva, you will live in me. What does it mean? You will go to Brahmaloka, after that you will be in me. That is the ultimate destination, that Atma Sakshatkara. Nibesisyasi Mayeva, you shall live in me. Look at the great privilege Bhagavan is offering. No more sansara, you shall be in me, that Paramartha Satya. Atah Udvam na sansayaha, that you will go up. And Sarira Patat Udvam, that you will go up in what sense? That you will have to wait a little, because you are a Saguna Upasaka. So you will go, and there is no doubt you will have liberation as soon as. So it is Videha Mukti that happens. So there is nothing extra in Madhusudana. Labdha Jnanaha San Mandatmana Mayeva Suddhe Brahmani Eva. So you will get this Jnana through Upasana, Labdha Jnanaha. Okay? San Madatmana, Mad Atmana Mayeva Suddhe Brahmani Eva. You will have Atmagyana and you will exist in me. Ata Urdhvam. Okay? Etad Dehante. After your life comes to an end, you drop this body, then you will have the Videha Mukti. Na Sansaya, na Atra Pratibandha Sanka Kartapityartha. Na Sansaya is mentioned why? You should not have any fear that there may be some obstacles, because you are surrendering yourself to the ultimate remover of all obstacles. Obstacle is always associated with falsehood, with mithya, delusion. But you are surrendering to the Lord. You know, you may have a lot of obstacles. Bhagavan might test you with a few obstacles, but he is the ultimate remover of all obstacles. Therefore, you should not have any pratibandha sanka. You surrender to him without any doubt. Kartabhya ityartha. Ataiva urdhvam ityatra sandhyavavah sloka pranati is a grammar. Mai evam ataha urdhvam. That's a mai evam. Mai eva matam urdhvam hona chahiye. So he's saying that why that he has not done, Sandhi hasn't done it, because sloka purnartham. So he wanted to look at the meter. It's a grammatical point. Now in the verse number 9, you know, the student, it's like you have a naughty boy and the mother is trying to convince the child, बेटे आप जो है ना हम mama we will go to the market, or I want to go to the playground, I want to see a match or something. The mother convinces the child, we will go after you have finished your coursework and you do a couple of extra chapters of the mathematics. The student says मुझसे नहीं होगा इतना. Then what? The mother negotiates again. Okay, you write this and this and this much only. You know, this is a negotiation goes on between child and the mother most of the time. Now the same negotiation is starting between Bhagavan and the Bhakta. Bhakta is lazy, is a manda buddhi. So he has to say, I cannot do this, try to help me out. They want, you know, even citizens demand a lot of things from the state. They don't want to do anything. Same thing. Atachittam samadhatum na saknosi mai sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichhaptum dhananjaya. If the student says, Atha chittam samadhatum. If you cannot do your mana, you cannot focus your mind in me, because he mentioned in the earlier verse, mana adhatsva sthapaya. If you cannot do it like the way I advise, na saknosi, mai sthiram, if you cannot make it stable in me, then you do one thing. You start doing abhyasa yoga. This is a repetition of what he had discussed in this chapter 6. It will take just 1 second. We'll find out. Bhagavan, after he gives a lot of discussion, what he says, uh, Arjuna Vacha, Yoyam Yoga Svaya Prokta Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham Napasyami Chanchalatva Sthitim Sthiram. I cannot do it, my Lord. My mind is running around. You have given me a long lecture on how to do meditation. You sit like this, you go to Vivikta Desa, do pranayama. What nonsense. This is not possible. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. My mind all the time is restless. Ramathi Valabhadridham, and it's almost like an terrorist. It comes and attacks and runs you, through different terrains that you don't even know. It kidnaps you. Tasyaham nigraham manni bayoriva suduskaram. You can control even the moving wind, but controlling the mind is even very difficult. He had raised that verse number 33 and 34. That questions are being repeated here in a very summary, simple way. What Bhagavan said. Bhagavan says, Asangsayam Mahabaho Manon Durnigraha Chalam Abhyasena Takunteya Vairagyena Chalkriyate. Abhyasena Vairagya. Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, he said, Mana Nigraha, Yoga, Mana Vritti, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. How do you do this Chitta Vritti Nirodha? Abhyasa and Vairagya. The same Bhagavad Gita in verse number 35 of chapter 6, we have studied it. Now we are in chapter 12, and Bhagavan is kind of revising his advice, but mentioning the same thing. There is not much change. You do abhyasa yogena tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. How will you desire to establish your mind in me? He's explaining the way to have serious desire to do bhakti yoga. He had earlier mentioned that you do Nishkama yoga, then Sattva Suddhi is Antakarana Suddhi, then you will have Vairagya, then Mumukshutva, then Jnana Ichha happens. Because you are a Mumukshu, you will go and study Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. Then you will get liberated. That is how he had explained. That you try to do Nishkama Karma. He explained that in chapter 3 and 4. Before Sarva Karma Sannyasa Yoga in chapter 5, he made it very clear that you try to be Visishta, not Mithyachari. Don't run away. Stay here. Do Nitya Sannyasa. Do that work. Seriously. Do a complete surrender of your work. Ishvara Arpana Vidya Atma Suddhyartham. Then the Atma Suddhi will create Vairagya and Jnana Ichha, and then you will do and you will get me. That's what you mentioned. Here, this Bhakti Ichha is again a lower sopana, a lower stage towards having Jnana Prapti. Even Bhakti Ichha is also not there. Then what to do? You want to do Bhakti, but you cannot do Japa. You have to stabilize. You have to do some habit. It is not possible that every day you are crying for Lord Christ or Allah or Krishna. No, mind doesn't behave like that. You are married, you love your wife, but anybody who tells you that he wakes up early morning and is full of love for his wife, no, the mind absolutely doesn't behave like that. It's a normal thing. So it will have normal behavior, like it's lazy, it may be having work pressure. It doesn't mean you hate your children and wife or husband. But the mind doesn't behave all the time. It doesn't show that emotion. So sometimes you have to do. There is a beautiful, essay by Eric Fromm on love. If you find it, you can read it. He mentions that how in love you have to have the habit of being able to concentrate. Otherwise, that relationship will not survive. So you have to make some efforts to show love. Sometimes you think about, you're not feeling an emotion, fine, not a problem. But you look at your wife or children and say, okay, how much they suffered for me, how much these children are working. And then immediately love starts flowing. And then you become a good fellow, you're full of compassion. So the mind sometimes might get sort of wrapped in some loss of attention or apathy or some amount of cold attitude towards the person whom you love. Actually, it's not that you hate that person, you love him or her, but the mind becomes very cold and sort of isolated, withdrawn, sulking in nature. It's quite possible the other person might feel emotionally abused because of your silence, because he or she might think you are ignoring him. Now, you look at one beautiful solution Bhagavan is given here. Bhagavan says, Abhyasa yogena tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. You should try to seek me through abhyasa. This is a good advice for all of us, which applies even in our everyday lives, that we have to practice love. I mean, love is spontaneous, no one denies it, but you have to have abhyasa yoga even to be successful in a family life, in a social life, in personal relations. Some initiative, some efforts have to be made. It doesn't happen naturally. That is what Bhagavan advises here. What does he say if you look at Shankaracharya? Atha iti. Atha evam Yatha Abochama, the way I explain to you, my boy, my friend, Tatha Mai Chittam Samadhatum Stapayitum Stiram Achalam Kartum Na Saknosi, if you are unable to establish your mind in me, Chiram Achalam, to make it for a long time stable in me, Na Saknosi, Chet, if so, Tataha, then Pasat Abhyasa Yogena, then you should start doing Abhyasa Yoga. Pick up the habit of doing some practice. Whether you feel love for Lord Krishna or not, that is the ultimate goal. Start with sitting for 5 minutes. That is also very important. Abhyasa yogena. Then chittasya ekasmin alambane. So you'll sit. You'll try to stabilize. It could be a picture of Lord Krishna, or maybe collecting flowers for Lord Krishna. Play some music. Create a scene. That is how it happens. Alambane sarvataha samahritya. Then you withdraw your mind from all other external objects or attractions. Puna puna sthapanam. Again and again you re-establish your mind in your destination, whether it is examination or Lord Krishna. You have to examination, everybody wants to succeed. I mean, this is a good advice to also children you can give. See what Bhagavan says, Abhyasa Yogena. You want to do well in examination, no doubt, but you are not studying. Why? Mind is not helping, is not cooperative. So how do we explain to children that they can focus? There we have to take this saying that let's do some abhyasa yoga and it works. Okay? Chittasya ekasmin alambane sarvata samavitya, withdrawing it from every puna puna stapana abhyasaha. So that is what is habit. Re-establishing the mind again and again on the destination, the object of your meditation. Tat purvaka, and then that is the yoga, that bhakti. Tat purvaka yoga. And that yoga is what? Having samadhana. Samadhana lakhyanaha. That is that samadhi. Samadhana lakhyanaha. Tena abhyasa yogena. Through that abhyasa of being able to focus on me, doing samadhi in me, mam vishwarupam ichha. So you seek to realize and do complete bhakti and surrender to the Vishwarupa. Okay, then prarthaya aparthaya swa aptum. So then you pray, oh Lord, I want to get this Vishwarupa. Then you, hey Dhananjaya. Why is he saying Dhananjaya? We all know it. Madhusudana has explained many times. Because he was a Vairagi, he defeated the enemies, got a lot of gold, and gave it to his brother for the Rajasuriya Yajna. So you are a Vairagi and you can do it. He is reminding Arjuna of his spiritual capacity. Okay, and in Madhusudana, nothing strong. Let's see. Idanim Saguna Brahma Dhyana Saktanam Dhana Asaktanam Sakti Taratamyena Prathamam Pratimadau Bahyai Bhagavat Dhyana Tad Asaktau. Those who cannot even do that dhyana. First thing is that Nirguna Upasana. Usse kam hai Saguna Upasana. But there are some people who cannot even do that. What do they do? Bhagavata Dharma Anushtanam Tad Asaktau. Then they cannot even do Bhagavata Dharma. Then they will say, no, okay, I cannot even do that. So सर्वकर्म फलत्याग इति त्रीणि sadhanani trivi sloke vidhatte. So what Bhagavan is doing, vidhana, is prescribing three ways in verse number 9, 10, and 11. First you try to have abhyasa yoga. He says, no, I cannot do it. Then Bhagavan says, okay, you cannot do it, not a problem. You try to focus your karma, you become mat karma paraka, do my work, my seva and stuff. He says, no, I cannot even do that. In all the Sastrokta puja karma and all grahastha dharma karma, you do all those. No, I cannot do it. Then Bhagavan says, okay, forget it. You do whatever you want. Can you do one thing? Whatever you do, you imagine that the phala you will not enjoy, but you will give it to me. That phala tyaga. That is verse number 11. So in these three slokas, Bhagavan is trying to make it very easy for people who are not having time, who are very manda adhikaris, very bad students of Vedanta, that you try to at least remove that phala ichha. That is the main source of bandha, bondage. So phala ichha you can remove, surrender to me, to the Lord. Do your work, do whatever you want, but the phala you will not enjoy. Leave it for Lord Krishna. Then you see the magic. I'll come into the picture. That is how in the three verses he said. We have already finished the first verse. Okay, three sloke he explains. That is what अथ पक्षांतरे स्थिरः यथा स्यात् तथा चित्तं समाधितुं स्थापयितुम्. In more or less he is repeating, therefore I am not looking at it. In the verse number 10, what does he say? अभ्यासेप्य समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि kurban siddhim abhapsyasi. Okay, if you cannot do focus on me, abhyas also you cannot do, not a problem. He's having some, attention deficit problem. He's a little active, cannot sit, cannot do abhyasa. Bhagavan says, all right, काम करो, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है. अभ्यासेपि असमर्थोसी, you cannot even do that abhyasa, not a problem. Mat karma paramo bhava. You think that your ultimate goal is to do work for me. So lag jao kaam mein, do my seva. So you may go to do some seva in a temple and or at home, and you do my work by helping other people. You do charity work. A lot of people do this kind of thing, right? They are grihasthas, but they do a lot of social work and they do a lot of, anusthana, dharma anusthana. Madartham api karmani. And for me, you do all the activities. Kurban siddhim avakti. So this is nishkama karma. That he has already explained in chapter 3 and 4. He's just explaining it here, repeating in just one sentence. That is verse number 10. And so how Shankaracharya explains? Abhyase api iti. Abhyase api asamarthosi. If you are actually not able to do it. Asaktosi. You are not sakta. You are not having the capacity to focus. Sitting is a very big problem for you. Tari mat karamo paramo bhava. Then your goal should be to work for me. Madartham karma, mat karma. What is mat karma? Doing work for me, mat karma. Tat paramo, and that is your ultimate goal. Mat karma parama. So that is what is your definition. You will become mat karma parama, Ishvara karma parama. That is your highest goal in life, to work for God. A lot of karma yogis in the ashramas and all ashramites are not jnana yogis. If you look at Ramakrishna Mission, they are all busy doing karma yoga. A lot of doctors, they are working very hard for the poor people. They are great sadhus, but they are not doing Vedanta Chintana. They don't have time. They're saving lives, and they are, they are Bhagavad Vasudeva Karma Parama. And that is also great. Bhagavan will come and hold their hands and help them, because they are doing Sarva Prani Mangala, Ishwarartham, and therefore they are also great yogis. There is not a confusion whatsoever. Abhyasena vina, then he's saying abhyasena vina. Okay, abhyase mat karma pradhana ityartha. Abhyasena vina madartham api karmani kevalam kurban siddhim. Even if you don't do any abhyasa, if you do all your work for me, kevalam, and not other karmas, but everything for me, you will say that I will go do some gambling and all. No, that's not what is permitted. Sattva Suddhi Yoga. First you will do Antakarana Suddhi, because you are doing Nishkama Karma, Ishvara Arpana Buddhya, and then what you do? Yoga Jnana Prapti Dvarena Eva Dvaram Abhapsyasi. what happens is that this is a gateway to Atmajnana. Because you do a lot of Niskama karma, your Antakarana becomes very Suddha, it becomes very Sthira, Achala. You can do then Abhyasa Yoga. You will graduate backwards. What you have said you cannot do, you can easily do it. Dwarena Abhaksis, you will get me. And then he says, no, that is also not possible. Then Bhagavan again negotiates with him. Because Bhagavan loves you so much that he will give you, like the mother gives you a very easiest thing to do finally. The boy, chalo kuch nahi hoga, chalo handwriting the kar lo one page. Okay, mom, fine, I'll do one page. Okay, do handwriting one page. Then we'll go out. It's like that. Tatha etad, tatha etad तथा एतद्यप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् तथा etad api asoktasi. You cannot even do that much. Moody child, the bhakta is like that. Kartum mad yogam asritaha. Then he says, okay, forget it. You try to focus on me. What will be your yoga? You will do it's like this, that all work, all your life is yoga for me. That is your, it's like everything is Sivarpanam in that sense. And that is the yoga of your life. So you become a karma yogi or whatever. Sarva karma phalatyagam. But whatever karma you want to do it, he says, no, I want to play. Okay, go play. You will not do the Ishvara, that what is prescribed karma you want to do. You cannot do. Okay, you want to take some liberty, not a problem. But Bhagavan holds the key in his hands. He's saying, you go everywhere, but you have to make a promise that you will not look for the phala. Phala is mine. Can you have an agreement like this? Then what the Sishya will do? Why should he go and play a cricket match? He thinks, why will Krishna be happy with this match? Maybe he might go there, but then his life changes. He becomes a monk, even if he's playing cricket or he's playing football, because he's doing to please Lord Krishna. Then again, from back door, Bhagavan comes and hugs him. So even though he may be a dancer, he may be a sports person, he may be a banker, he may be anything. Outside world will not recognize him. But inside, he slowly is a monk because Bhagavan is standing next to him. And therefore, why? Because he is not doing it for himself. He is basically having phalatyaga, giving the result of all his work to Bhagavan. So, sarva karma phalatyagam tataha kuru yatatmavan. So, you do that yatna and just go and surrender to it to me. Bhagavan is giving this advice. So let's look at how Shankaracharya explains it, and we'll stop here. We have crossed the time. Okay, I think we have crossed the time. We'll take it up tomorrow. So I'm ending the live stream, and we will do the Santi mantras.